The champagne spilled, but it wasn't an accident. The billionaire's fiancée stood there in her glittering white dress, and she poured the rest of the bottle over the waitress's head. "You don't belong near people like us," she sneered. The crowd laughed. The waitress clenched her fists, trembling, trying not to cry. Then the fiancé smirked and ripped the girl's shirt right down the middle. The room gasped, and that's when the doors opened. The billionaire walked in. His smile disappeared the second he saw what his bride had done. Her name was Lila Chen, 24 years old, working 3 part-time jobs just to keep her mother alive. The Grand Astoria Hotel was her Friday night shift. Polished marble floors, crystal chandeliers, the kind of place where a single glass of champagne cost more than her weekly paycheck. She didn't mind. The work was honest, and every dollar went straight to her mother's medical bills. Tonight was different, though. Tonight, the hotel was hosting the engagement party of Ethan Ward, the billionaire tech founder, 32 years old, Forbes cover twice. Everyone wanted to know him. Everyone wanted to be him. And tonight, he was marrying Vanessa Cole. Vanessa came from old money, the kind that didn't need to be earned, only inherited. She wore it like armor, designer everything, a smile that never reached her eyes, and a voice that could freeze champagne mid-pour. Lila had seen women like Vanessa before, but she'd never worked an event for one. The ballroom was packed. 200 guests, all dripping in diamonds and designer labels. Photographers everywhere. Influencers taking selfies by the ice sculpture. Lila kept her head down, smiled politely, refilled glasses, cleared plates. She was invisible, and that's exactly how she liked it. But what nobody knew, what nobody in that room could possibly know, was that Lila had worked for Ethan Ward before. 3 years ago, she was an assistant at his startup, Ward Tech Solutions, a small office. 20 people. Big dreams. She wasn't important, just the girl who organized files and answered phones. But one night, late November, she stayed after hours to finish reports, and she found something, a critical software bug, one that could have crashed their biggest client presentation. She sent the report to Ethan directly. At 2 in the morning, he fixed it. The presentation was perfect. The company got funded, and 6 months later, they were worth $50 million. But Lila never saw any of that success, because the same week her mother collapsed. Heart failure, emergency surgery, bills piling up faster than she could breathe. She asked for time off, just 2 weeks. Her manager said no, said the company came first, said if she left, don't bother coming back. So she quit, signed the resignation letter with shaking hands, and never looked back. Ethan Ward probably didn't even remember her name, and tonight he wasn't even here yet. Delayed flight, business in Singapore. He'd arrive an hour late, which meant Vanessa was running the show, and she was loving every second of it. Lila watched from the service hallway as Vanessa posed for photos, laughing, touching everyone's arm, playing the perfect bride. Then their eyes met. Just for a second. Vanessa's smile didn't change, but something cold flickered behind it. She leaned over to her friend, whispered something. They both looked at Lila and laughed. Lila's chest tightened. Lila's chest. She looked away, picked up a tray of champagne flutes, balanced it carefully. The manager waved her over. VIP section, move. She walked into the center of the ballroom. The lights felt too bright, the laughter too loud. Vanessa was holding court at the main table, surrounded by her bridesmaids, all looking like they stepped out of a magazine. Lila approached, steady, professional. "Champagne, Miss Cole?" Vanessa turned, looked her up and down, slowly, then smiled. "Did they run out of real staff today?" The table erupted in laughter. Lila's face burned, but she kept her voice calm. "I'm sorry. Would you like a drink?" Vanessa leaned back in her chair, eyes glittering. "What I'd like is for people to know their place." The laughter got louder, and Lila knew. Right then, this night was about to go very, very wrong. It happened fast. Lila was turning to leave, tray still balanced, head down, and then her heel caught the edge of the carpet, just slightly, just enough. One champagne glass tipped, the golden liquid spilled, and 3 drops landed on the hem of Vanessa's wedding dress. 3 drops. The entire table went silent. Lila froze. Her heart stopped. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Let me—" Vanessa stood up, slowly, like a queen rising from a throne. Her face was perfectly calm, but her eyes were fire. "Do you know what this costs?" Her voice was quiet, deadly. "This dress was flown in from Paris, hand-stitched, $22,000. She stepped closer. "That's more than you'll make in a year, isn't it?" Lila's throat closed. She could feel every single person staring. "Miss Cole, I'll pay for the cleaning, I promise." Cleaning?" Vanessa laughed, sharp, cold. "You think cleaning fixes this?" She looked around the room, making sure everyone was watching. And they were, phones out, recording. Vanessa picked up her own champagne glass, full to the brim. "You know what? I don't think you understand how things work here." She tilted the glass and poured it, slowly, directly onto Lila's head. The champagne soaked through her hair, dripped down her face, stung her eyes. The room exploded in laughter, gasps, whispers, camera flashes. Lila stood there, frozen, liquid dripping from her chin, her uniform clinging to her skin. She wanted to run, wanted to disappear, wanted to scream, but she couldn't move. Vanessa leaned in close, so close only Lila could hear. This is what happens when trash tries to touch luxury. Then louder, for everyone. "Someone get her a mop. She's clearly better at cleaning than serving." The bridesmaids cackled. One of them took a video. Another posted it immediately. Hashtag, engagement disaster. Hashtag, know your place. Lila's vision blurred. She didn't know if it was champagne or tears. A security guard started walking toward her, ready to escort her out, and that's when Vanessa did something nobody expected. She reached out, grabbed the collar of Lila's shirt. "You know what? I don't think this uniform suits you anyway." And she yanked, hard. The fabric ripped, right down the middle. Buttons popped, seams tore. Lila gasped. Her hands flew to her chest, trying to hold the shirt together. The laughter stopped. Someone screamed. The room went dead silent. Vanessa stood there, piece of torn fabric still in her hand, smiling like she'd just won something. Lila's face was scarlet, tears streaming now. She couldn't hide them anymore. Her bra was visible, her skin exposed. 100 people staring. She wanted to die. The security guard reached for her arm. "Miss, you need to leave, now." His grip was firm, not cruel, but final. Lila nodded, couldn't speak, could barely breathe. She tried to say something, an apology, an explanation, anything, but her voice was gone. All she could do was hold her torn shirt together and try not to collapse. She turned toward the exit, head down, vision blurred. Every step felt like a mile. Every whisper felt like a slap. "Oh my God, did you see that? That was insane." She literally ripped her shirt off. "I got it on video. This is going viral." She deserved it though. You don't spill on a $20,000 dress. Still, that was brutal. Vanessa doesn't play. Lila could hear them. Every word, every laugh, every camera click. She wanted to scream at them. Tell them it was an accident. Tell them she was just trying to work, to survive, to help her dying mother. But what was the point? They'd already decided who she was. The clumsy waitress? The girl who didn't belong? The one who got what she deserved? Her hands were shaking so hard she could barely hold the fabric. She was 5 steps from the door. 4, 3, and then a voice cut through the silence. Deep, calm, furious. Who just touched her? Every head turned. The double doors at the entrance were open, and standing there, in a perfectly tailored black suit, face like stone, was Ethan Ward. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't moving. He was staring directly at Vanessa, and his eyes were ice. The room held its breath. Lila stopped, turned turned slowly. Ethan's gaze shifted, landed on her torn shirt, her wet hair, her tears. His jaw tightened. What the hell happened here? Nobody answered. Vanessa recovered first, stepping forward, smile back in place. Darling, you're early. This is just a little accident. The staff... I asked what happened. His voice was low, controlled, and absolutely terrifying. Vanessa's smile faltered. She ruined my dress. I was just what? Ethan walked forward, slowly, every step deliberate. He stopped in front of Lila, looked at her torn uniform, the champagne in her hair, the way she was shaking. Then he turned to Vanessa. You did this. It wasn't a question. Vanessa's face went pale. She spilled. I don't care what she spilled. Ethan's voice was steel. You humiliated her. You assaulted her in front of 200 people. He looked around the room. And you all just watched. Silence. Ethan took off his jacket, turned back to Lila. Here, take this. Lila stared at him, couldn't move. Take it, he said softly. She did, wrapped it around herself. It smelled like expensive cologne and safety. Ethan looked at the security guard. Get her somewhere private and get the hotel manager, now. Then he turned back to Vanessa and said the words that would break the internet. This engagement is over. Comment karma if you're waiting to see what happens next. The ballroom had never been this quiet. 200 people, holding their breath. Vanessa's face went from shock to panic to forced composure in 3 seconds flat. She laughed. Light, airy, like this was all a misunderstanding. Darling, you don't understand. She ruined my dress. I was just what? Ethan's voice cut through the air like a blade. Just humiliating someone half your size? Just pouring alcohol on a woman who's working? Just ripping her clothes off in public? He took a step closer to Vanessa. Which part am I not understanding? Vanessa's smile cracked. Ethan, please, everyone's watching. Good, let them watch. He turned to face the crowd. Let them see exactly who they were about to celebrate tonight. Phones were up now, recording everything. This was going to be everywhere by morning. Vanessa grabbed his arm. You're embarrassing me. Ethan looked down at her hand, then back at her face. No, you embarrassed yourself. He pulled his arm free. Then he walked over to Lila. She was still standing there, frozen, his jacket wrapped around her shoulders. Tears streaming down her face. Are you hurt? He asked quietly. She shook her head, couldn't find words. Look at me. She did, slowly, and that's when recognition hit him like a truck. His eyes widened. Wait, I know you. Lila's breath caught. You worked for me 3 years ago, Ward Tech. The room erupted in whispers. Lila nodded, barely. Ethan's face changed. Realization, then anger, then something that looked like guilt. You were the one who found the software bug the night before the Silverman presentation. More whispers, louder now. You saved that entire pitch. That client funded us. They're the reason the company survived. He looked back at Vanessa, then at the crowd. This woman, the one you all just watched get humiliated, she's the reason I have a company at all. The whispers turned into murmurs, phones recording faster. Vanessa's face went white. That's impossible. She's just a waitress. She wasn't always. Ethan's voice was ice. She worked for me until she had to quit because her mother needed emergency surgery, and my management at the time told her to choose between her job and her family. He paused. Let that sink in. She chose her family, like any decent person would. Lila's knees felt weak. She didn't know he knew. She didn't know he remembered. Ethan turned to one of his assistants standing near the back. Marcus, get me the personnel files from 2022, Lila Chen's resignation letter. Marcus nodded, pulled out a tablet, started typing. 30 seconds later, he walked over, handed Ethan the tablet. Ethan held it up for everyone to see. Resignation letter, signed under duress, By management under coal industry's oversight, he looked directly at Vanessa. Your father's company was consulting for us back then, his management policy, his rules. Toward him, Vanessa's face drained of color. I didn't know about that. Maybe you should have. Ethan walked to the center of the ballroom. Everyone was watching, recording, sharing live. He raised his voice, clear, steady, furious. I built my company on one principle: respect for everyone, no matter who they are, no matter what they do. He looked around the room. Tonight I was going to marry someone who believes people have value based on their bank account, on their last name, on what they wear. His eyes landed on Vanessa. I was going to spend my life with someone who thinks humiliation is entertainment. Vanessa stepped forward, voice shaking. Ethan, please, we can talk about this privately. No, you humiliated her publicly, so this ends publicly. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a small velvet box. The engagement ring. He opened it. The diamond caught the light. Probably cost more than most people made in 5 years. Then he closed it and set it down on the table in front of Vanessa. We're done. The room exploded. Gasps, shouts, camera flashes like lightning. Vanessa's face twisted. You're going to regret this. She's nothing. She's a better person than you'll ever be. Ethan's voice was final. He turned back to Lila. I'm sorry for what happened tonight and for what happened 3 years ago. You deserved better then, and you deserve better now. Lila was crying, but not from shame anymore. I just needed the work, she whispered. I know. He gestured to Marcus. Get her somewhere safe and get her a lawyer, if she wants one. What happened tonight was assault. Marcus nodded, walked over to Lila gently. Miss Chen, this way, please. Lila looked at Ethan one more time. Thank you, she said quietly. He nodded. As Marcus led her toward a private exit, away from the cameras and the chaos, Ethan turned back to the crowd. This party is over. Everyone out. Nobody moved at first. Then someone started clapping. Slow, deliberate. Then another person joined. Then another. Within seconds, half the room was applauding, not for the engagement, for the woman in the torn shirt, and for the man who chose to see her. Vanessa stood alone, ring box in front of her, cameras everywhere. Her bridesmaids had disappeared into the crowd. Her friends wouldn't meet her eyes. She reached for her phone, tried to salvage something, anything, but the notifications were already flooding in. Her video, the one her friend posted, #KnowYourPlace. It was being reshared with new captions. This is what cruelty looks like. Imagine being this heartless. She ripped a working woman's shirt off and thought she was the victim. The likes were turning to rage. The comments were brutal. Vanessa's hands shook as she scrolled. Everything she'd built, her image, her brand, her perfect life, it was crumbling in real time. And the worst part? She'd done it to herself. She'd worn a $20,000 dress, but she'd lost everything that actually mattered. The respect, the love, the man who was supposed to be her future. All because she couldn't see past a uniform. All because she thought someone's job defined their worth. Ethan watched her from across the room. He felt no satisfaction, no victory, just sadness. He'd almost married that. Almost spent his life with someone who measured people by their price tags. He turned away, walked toward the exit. The crowd parted for him, and as he left, one thought kept repeating in his mind. Thank God he saw the truth before it was too late. The video went viral in 17